right, guys, so I went to see the Michael Jackson biopic film, and I went to a matinee show, and it was better than what I had imagined. The costumes and the concert scenes are so well done. It looked like Michael, Crazy Jafar. His performance was stellar. I couldn't believe it. From the Thriller segment, the Beat It segment, the Bad segment, even the early Motown was phenomenal. And the younger actor, I'll put his information here. He did a fantastic job as Little Michael. So I know that there has been a lot of controversy around Michael. I'm not here to talk about that. I talk about artistry and about music. And growing up in Los Angeles, it was always, you know, Michael on the radio, Michael in the rag mags, the trash mags, Us Weekly, People magazine. He was always on the local news. There were also stories about his brothers and his sister Janet and LaToya, of course. We never made it down to Encino to go to the house. I know that there were groups of people always camped out, but we never did that. I just want to say that growing up with Michael Jackson was, I'm sure as a lot of you know who watch my channel, it was, you know, a lot of controversy, but he was doing things that were very interesting. His Balmain jackets and his, of course, the white socks with the penny loafers and the glove, and all of that was different. But you know, his inspiration was Elvis. We all know this because the classic standing on your toes is from Jailhouse Rock, and way even before Jailhouse Rock. Elvis was doing that in '56. So this isn't something new. Michael just made it more modern, I guess. He was putting it in his shows. The moonwalk was interesting, but as far as balancing on your toes, that was something Elvis did years before, and everyone went crazy for it. I love the comparison here. Elvis is in this sort of broad stance. His legs are out, and he's hunched over, but his torso is straight, and he's got these facial expressions, right? And then you notice Michael, he's a lot thinner, and his knees are more turned inward. I don't know if that was ballet related or a balance issue, but Elvis was able to balance sideways, front ways, wide-legged, any way he wanted to, he was doing it. And this isn't something new that Michael Jackson brought to the forefront. I find it interesting also that Michael had a chimpanzee named Bubbles, but we know that Elvis had a chimpanzee named Scatter, I guess his name was.
Brought him out to Graceland. Cute little chimp. It was gorgeous. It looked nice and cuddly. And so Elvis bought him, and Elvis named him Scatter. I don't know where he thought of this idea. Elvis had weird names for animals. Scatter. Every place we go, we take this chimp. So after about a year or so, he decided to take him to Hollywood with us. We take him there. And, you know, you just can't take a chimp every place. And we'd have these parties at the house in Bel Air. And there'd be people there and girls and all of us guys sitting around watching, listening to music, playing pool. Elvis would tell Alan, go get Scatter, bring him into the room, bring him into the party. So I remember Alan come walking in hand in hand, and all of a sudden this chimp is making the loudest screaming noise. Scared the hell out of all the girls and the people in the room. And he comes running in and jumps up on Elvis's lap and gives Elvis a big hug. So that was great. All the girls, all how cute and all that, you know. So during the evening, Scatter, he was walking around. But we didn't know, and he's going around taking everybody's drink. And he's drinking it. And he's drinking people's drinks. Little by little, the thing's getting drunk. And he's running around. He's looking at the girls' skirts. It was a pretty wild night. And this went on for a long time. Poor Scatter, we took him to the lot one day. But he would make noise during the takes of the filming. So we had to put him in the dressing room. So Alan put him in the dressing room to Goldwyn Studios. We were all on the set. And all of a sudden we get a phone call on the set from Sam Goldwyn's office. was right above Elvis's dressing room. The chimp got out. They got up the window and went into the window of Sam Gold's office, and it was just scared the secretary. She was throwing papers. She was scared, and all of a sudden we got a call. Security says, "Come and get this chimp. You have orders to get him off the lot." And so we had to come and get him. Alan went and got him, and he drove off and took him off in Elvis's Rolls Royce in the back seat with the chimp and Alan, and took him home. And we couldn't bring him on the sets anymore. And as time went on, he got a little uncontrollable. Chimps are good at a certain age, but then he had to take him back to Memphis and had to put him in a cage. I keep him at Graceland. And the sad thing about it, I think we got a call one day and said he died. The Scatter died. We all figured it was like heartbreak. I mean, he was around people all the time, and all of a sudden he was separated completely, and it was a sad story. But I'll never forget those days with that chimp.
That's another thing that Michael took from Elvis. And also, he married his daughter, which is something that I never quite understood, and I'm not going to get into that on this channel. But obviously, Michael Jackson was heavily influenced, as was every artist, heavily influenced by Elvis. And in watching this movie, I was seeing elements of Elvis's influence throughout Michael's career, and I find that interesting, because before Elvis, no one was doing anything, and he broke records before there were records. He broke records, his own records, and so he just really, I mean, there's Michael Jackson, and then there's Elvis, there's the king, right? And everyone has been influenced by Elvis in some way, shape, or form. But I did notice that when I saw the biopic. If you love music like I do, I recommend seeing this film. The vocals are Michael's. There is a segment where it is Jafar, and Jafar did such a great job in speaking like Michael, his mannerisms, his facial expressions, that sort of shy, reserved, humble, off-stage persona that Michael had, and then he was bigger than life when he was on stage. So I really loved Jafar's performance. And watching Thriller, because we used to do that all the time, right? Did you? Oh my gosh. We used to do the whole, they even have a movie, 13 going on 30, or 30 going, that Jennifer Garner movie, and they're doing that segment. We would do this. Yeah, it was around, because I was still in high school. So after I graduated high school, my girlfriends and I would go hang out in Hollywood, and it had to be around 1990. We would be listening to the radio, and then all of a sudden Thriller would come on, and we would be doing crazy things in the car, and just everywhere you went and everywhere you looked was Michael Mania. And I remember the day I was told about his passing. So I was in Texas, and I saw it. Farrah Fawcett had passed away the same day of cancer, and then not long after, we had gotten word on the television that Michael Jackson had passed. And I didn't know what to think. I didn't know the circumstances around it, but I wasn't too shocked. I mean, he didn't look very healthy in later years of his life. And then, of course, there was that concert movie that came out not long after that, and we went to go see it. Kind of like them showing his last preparations for his concert. And I thought of That's the Way It Is, and how this was sort of a take on that. So I see the similarities between Michael's career and Elvis's career. And of course, Elvis didn't have MTV. Could you imagine if Elvis had MTV? What would have happened? I don't know what would have happened. I know when MTV started out, there were 4 videos. One of those was Pat Benatar, and they just played it over and over again. But can you imagine if Elvis was the featured artist on MTV? Crazy, crazy. That would have been so awesome to see him there breaking ground on MTV. But he already broke ground, right, with all of his films. So anyway, guys, I really liked this film. If you are a Michael Jackson fan, definitely go see it. If you're someone who appreciates craft and artistry and musicianship and just the whole idea of putting on a production, a concert, a big concert, for masses of people, this might be of interest to you as well. I do want to say they did touch upon the scene where he did have the accident with the fire for the Pepsi commercial. So that is covered in this film. I really liked it, and I thought the standout actors were, of course, Jafar, and then, of course, Joseph Jackson, the actor. I'm going to have that information here. Joseph Jackson, the actor, was phenomenal. He did a beautiful job, and the costumes were amazing, and everyone looked beautiful in this film. Everyone. And Jafar, there was a moment where he was on stage as Michael, and I was looking at him, and he just looked so beautiful. Everything, his smile, that $1 million smile, and those dark eyes with the liner, and he just looked so beautiful. He did his uncle proud. Let me just say that. He did his uncle proud. Okay, guys, I will see you on the next one. Let me know if you're going to see this movie or if you have seen it, what your thoughts are, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.